everybody. So before we start with questions, let's start in the heart, okay? So, let's see. Yeah, we're gonna do a structuring today. Some of you already know what that is, but we're gonna do that. So let's go ahead and breathe into our hearts. And if you can breathe in from 360 degrees into the heart and exhale back out from that single point back out 360 degrees, great. If not, just breathe right into the center of the heart and breathe back out from it. Here we go. And let's go ahead and let's one more time, deep, deep, deep into the heart space. And exhaling out 360 degrees. And we're going to create a little structure or stability for that heart space today. So I want you to imagine that there's a line of energy going from above your head, right down through your body to below your feet. This is your multidimensional self, let's say, or represents that multidimensional access. And let's just command that whole line to straighten up. Feel it straight and solid. Yeah. Okay. And now I want you to imagine that there's a line running from, if your arms were outstretched to either side of you, I want you to imagine that there's a line running from your outstretched hand right through your heart, down the other arm and out to that outstretched hand. And let's command that line to just be straight, sturdy, stable. Yeah. That really represents the polarities of us, the right, the wrong, the good, the bad, the masculine, the feminine, the everywhere where we have a tendency to polarize. We're just strengthening our capacity to stay in neutrality. There we go. Okay, beautiful. And then one more line, as if there was a line right out in front of your heart. And we're going to draw that line right from in front of our hearts, right through the heart and out the back. About the same length as outstretched arm to outstretched arm, but this one's coming from front, right through the heart, into the back. Okay, this really represents our timelines, our past, our future, our present. And we're going to command that line to be perfectly straight, solid, stable. There we go. Okay, so we have these three lines of structured stability coming out from the heart now. So let's go back right into this breath. Let's breathe right into that heart space. Nice coherent heart space. And we're going to breathe out down those lines of energy, down that stability, coherence, clarity. Here we go. One more time. Deep, deep, deep into the center of the heart space and down those lines. There we go. Beautiful. All right then. So when you're ready, let's come on back. It's a really great exercise to use on a pretty regular basis right now, just to, with everything being as discombobulated as it can, it just recenters us in the heart and gives us an opportunity to stabilize, and I think it's a really good to remember that we can stabilize anytime we want to, just because we say, right? Just because we take a couple moments and restructure that field. So yeah, all right. So Sharon, what have you got for me today?
All right, this first question is, I have a 2.5-year-old son who is having difficulty staying asleep for the night. He has sensory processing disorder, and I believe he's also a big light worker in a small person's body. He wakes and wants to be active, playing and engaging for 2 hours in the middle of the night. I am losing sleep and sometimes my patience with wanting to shift the situation to be better and more restful for all. Any insights welcome.
So yeah, so for our multidimensional kids, no matter what their age is, definitely they are working out in the ethers, out in the multidimensional worlds when they're sleeping. And a lot of times when they're out there working, they're working and aware of what they're doing. And so often they get really involved with that and then they wake themselves up. And as they wake themselves up, then they're try to go about doing the same thing while they're awake. But it's, it's okay for them and easy for them, sometimes not so easy for mom and dad, when they're awake all the time. So one of the things that I would really suggest is let's create some kind of container for them as they are drifting off to sleep at night, so that they can do that work within that container and they're less likely to wake themselves up in the middle of it. And that can be everything from that bubble, that sphere that we just created with those lines down it, so that they have it's almost like it'll help keep them in the energetic field that they're working in and allow that to have a little bit of a buffer. Yeah. So that's, yeah, let me see if there's anything else to add to that. Part of it too is he kind of gets, I don't know if he has the words to say it or just the intention to, he gets kind of excited about what he's doing too. And a lot of times he wants to come back so he can be with other people or interact with other people. It's almost like if he could say, this is what I'm doing, this is so exciting, I want to share it with you. That's kind of the other thing that brings him back. So another thing you can say as you're creating that bubble is, I'm right there with you. If there's something you want to share with me while you're out working, just tell me while I'm sleeping, tell me in my dream state, it definitely can work like that. We just need to give them a little bit of direction. That's all. So, yeah. Okay. Thank you.
It says, we are absolutely loving the online support from the online process.
Mhm.
Our question is, our son is sharing so many amazing messages gushing from his fingers as he types. We are trying to make sure we are connected with him and keep clear mind, as sometimes his language is a little hard to understand. Can you give us any, give us any clarity on how we can hear his intent behind some of these amazing messages? 2 days ago, it was about him keeping our family safe and reference to the water family. Thanks so much.
Cool. Yeah. Exciting. It's like, oh, there's so much more information and new information and creative information coming through these kids all the time. The very first thing that I heard regarding Kate is um, before we try to understand the information and kind of put it into that kind of cognitive process, let's feel the information. Okay, so a lot of times we have a tendency, because we're so cognitively based and been conditioned to that, we have a tendency to jump into, wanting to know more, wanting to expand more, wanting to hear those messages more clearly. We will do that, and it's easy to do that. We just want to drop into the feeling of what's being said or not said, being attempted or hasn't kind of come fully to expression yet. So even as like, I could feel it even as you were talking about, this information just flooding out of his fingertips, as he's typing, typing, typing. So even that flood of information, that's a feeling. I mean, you can feel it in your body. It's like that rush of information. I would stay there first, because as you stay there, it literally is opening, it's opening all kinds of parts, aspects of you that can hear that information more clearly and receive it more directly. We just don't want to take it up into the head too soon. Yep. Really want to feel it. Let me see what else. Yeah, and I think even, the whole information about the water, and again, this is feeling, this is emotion, this is fluidity. He's gifted in this way, and in this level of awareness. And so he's just asking you to get on par, with that. He's asking you to drop even further into that feeling state, that emotional state. What arises, is as important as any information that's coming through. Yeah, I hope that's helpful.
All right, so this question is, my son rejects all forms of praise. Any thoughts on how to help him open up to receiving this?
Um, there's two different pieces here. So the first piece is, we really want to take a look at, and this is a refinement, so excuse me if you already know this, but the first thing is always to understand, where is that praise coming from? Yeah. So we have a tendency, again, as human beings conditioned the way we've been conditioned, to praise, out of our need, instead of, it's like, we want to check that. Is it our need to praise, or is it, because this is what I'm getting, it's like he's rejecting the praise, and basically as he's rejecting the praise, he's saying, maybe, well, that might be more for you than it actually is for me right now. What he's saying is, I don't need the praise, you seem to need to give it. Yeah, and that's fine, right? It's like, so let's just check in, and let's just see. It's like, and the question is always, am I, if he's not receiving it, or rejecting it, then what is it that we are attempting to do as we're offering that praise? And you might say, well, everybody likes to hear praise, right? Everybody likes to be acknowledged and loved and appreciated. He may almost also maybe directing you back to loving, appreciating, acknowledging yourself. Yeah. It's like, we're not, I'm just, hold on a second. He's going to town here. Yeah. Okay. So, all right, hold on a second. Yeah. So what, this is where he's just directing. It's, he opens to the praise. He opens naturally and organically to the praise when the praise is coming from, not a need, but coming from, yeah, it's funny. He just doesn't need it. He's not looking for the praise. He's not, he doesn't need it from that same place that we might think he does. And so let's ask ourselves, every time we go to praise, and we're trying to get him to, quote unquote, receive the praise, let's turn it around and just go, okay, Where would we like to receive praise? Where would we love to receive acknowledgement? Where would we love to receive, um, yeah, just, and as we offer that to ourselves, in this particular case, this individual, this child is going to go, oh, okay, she got it, he got it, I'm going to start receiving. Yep. But it's, he's just saying no because he wants you to turn that around and kind of go, what is it that I would actually like to receive? What kind of praise would I actually like to receive? Yeah. And very rarely does a grown adult ask themselves that kind of question. Yeah. That's why I'm saying it's kind of a refinement. Um, yeah. Okay. I hope that's helpful.
All right, so this question is a sleep question as well. And it says, her daughter stays asleep but has difficulty getting to sleep. In a conversation with her daughter, a capacity with time came up, but with no specifics.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. I've talked to more kids lately that are so proficient in time. I had a young woman not too long ago tell me that she was time, and I couldn't figure that out to save myself. And then when she was also having an experience with cancer. She was going through a third challenge with cancer. And when I checked in with her, she said, just take me beyond time and I can do the rest. And she had been told that the she had been told that what they could do for her was kind of winding down, right? And so there was, had told her parents that they didn't think there was a whole lot left to do. And within 15 minutes of that call, just taking her out beyond time, her grandmother called or texted me back and said they found now all of a sudden they have another thing that they want to try and that they're going to offer her and all this other stuff. So it's like she just needed to get out beyond time and then she could do what it was she needed to do. So there's some amazing and crazy things going on that we rarely see or pay attention to. But so let's go back to this thing around time for this particular child. Again, there's a timeless nature here. There's an awareness of timelessness and also a little bit of a challenge moving from states of being in time to being timeless. So that can also be from being in the waking state and being kind of more solidified in time to allowing this movement from physical embodiment in the physical daytime experience into that sleep state. It's a change of brainwave state as well. And so that brainwave shift is a little bit challenging one to make because it's going from I'm in time to I'm beyond time in many ways. Yep. You notice that when we're in our sleep state, whole different brainwave state. And that's why we get all kinds of different levels of information through our unconscious, through our dreams, right? So, yeah. So as far as you know, so one of the things that we want to do is maybe even an hour before this kiddo is ready to go to bed or ready to transition, let's go ahead and start just bringing the body more into a timeless state. So let's get less information coming in, less cognitive information coming in. Like let's just slow the day down so that we start transitioning from I'm in time, I'm in space, I'm working with all that to more, quieter music, maybe more heart-centered kind of maybe like a 528 frequency or something along those lines, where we're just starting to slow that energy down so that it's an easier transition or transformation, instead of just going from I'm in time to I'm kind of beyond time or outside of time. So I hope that's helpful.
All right, next question is, my son has considerable germophobia. He has OCD and interestingly differentiates his germophobia from his OCD. With respect to his germophobia, he is constantly washing his hands and arms, as well as spraying sanitizer on his clothes and personal physical items, like phone, computer, eyeglasses. His skin is clearly irritated from the constant washing. I openly ask him about his experience and support his feeling the need to do this, but I share that his skin needs support with moisturizer. Any thoughts on how to further support him?
We really want to disconnect him from the collective, because so much of this is we want to disconnect him or give him a greater boundary between himself and the collective. A lot of what it's almost, to me, it feels like this is a pattern that has been there off and on, but gets escalated at different times. And you can imagine with all the phobia, let's say, around viruses and all kinds of crazy things out in the world that have been kind of fear mongered into a really heightened state, that it's that he's kind of, if he has a tendency towards that kind of energy anyway, he's just heightened it because he also has access to a more collective energetic field. So it kind of ramps it up quite a bit. So again, we want to, more than moisturizer and things like that, which we'll get to, that'll become easier as we create some kind of boundary for him. And let me see here, what's the best way to go about this? It's getting louder. It's like, I tell you, it's like, I swear, you gotta love just the whole energy right now. It's just, this is exactly what it is like out in the world, you know? And it's like, it just gets louder and closer and more profound, you know? And you kind of have to just go, okay, where am I going to reorient myself, right? And so if we reorient again back to that center heart space and allow that to start moving out through, it can start moving and dissipating some of that energy, or not having it have as much of an impact. It's also a really good description, very literal description of what this kiddo that we're talking about right now is experiencing. So it's like if we have a little bit of heightened energy anyway around anything, and then all of a sudden the outside world gets much closer, much noisier with that. Now all of a sudden it's like, oh, the whole body is like in anxiety and stress. So thanks for the metaphor, universe. We've got that message. So, so again, we want to go back into some kind of boundary or bubbling up, so to speak, of his energy. And if he's not a kid who's typically interested in doing those kinds of exercises or that kind of thing, do it on his behalf. Do it for him. Especially if you're, you know, if you're your mom, yeah, or your biology, your dad, you have a lot of influence over how his biology, psychology, neurology responds to the world. So So bubble yourself, there we go. Bubble yourself up and it'll start getting, that information will get quieter, right? Everything will shift a bit. There we go. Yeah. Oh, good. Thank you. I hope that's helpful.
All right, this question is, my son's self-injurious chin hitting has flared up with more intensity and frequency again. His teeth are being damaged and chipped. My husband and I believe we understand what work is needed from us, but what we try doesn't seem to be helpful at the moment. What more is needed that we might be missing? We are determined to help him find some peace and relief.
Okay, let's see here. Yeah, I don't think that this isn't about, I think that whoever this is, you guys know enough at this stage of the game to, you're working through the emotional pieces and that kind of stuff. You've got that part really, you've got that awareness there and you're applying that awareness. So it's not about, you're right, it's not about what you or your husband have to learn about this. But one of the things that I will say is the very first word I heard actually was parasites. And I don't know what parasites actually have to do with this whole thing, but literally I just heard parasites. And so not that even that the parasites are um, in that part of his body even. I'm just, hold on a second. I just want to, it's like, I'm just going to say it. It sounds as weird as it can be, but I'll just say it anyway because it's what he's showing me. So there are parasites in the body, and as the parasites are moving through the body, he literally feels that in the bony structure. He feels, it's like the best way I can say it is that energy of parasites. And oh, okay, hold on a second. So physical parasites, we're going to clear the energetic parasites because we can. We'll just get that one moving. So physical parasites, and that is reverberating through the bone, right? It's like he has an awareness that it's there, and he hears it or feels it or senses it in the bone. And so he's trying to knock it out. He's trying to get it out. And it's, I guess he could be doing this or, going into the bone in other ways. But you think about where's the most bony mass, maybe on the front of your chest, maybe on the bottom of your chin. And he's just trying to knock them out. He's just trying to get them out. So definitely, like a homeopathic kind of parasite cleanse, just drop something that's really, really gentle would be great for him. And the other thing, and then there are other levels of what I'm going to call parasites. These are not physical, but they're energetic. So, and let's do this for all the kids. So anywhere where there are yeah, energetic parasites in any of the fields, and especially the ones that this one is showing me, different dimensions and realms. Yeah, see, it's impacting, the parasites are also impacting kind of his ability to really fully bring his voice to the forefront as well. So anywhere those parasites are multidimensional and we can get them, let's pull those all out of the field. Just said I'm happy to be here. So pull it out of the field and place that in a sphere out in front of us. Then we'll blue star. There you go, buddy. Blue star that energy and we'll spin it to clear. Compress and condense it back into that blue star. And we're just going to return that to before it was created. he actually, this is I mean, again, we got a lot of really pure souls. We have a really lot of beautiful beings in bodies that are really having a hard time just being here. It's just challenging. So, so when you have really clear, pure souls that are incarnating like that, they have a tendency to attract, I'm going to say, more parasitical kind of energy. Yep. So whether that's a parasite in the physical body, that's one level of it. But we want to keep, um, yeah, he's just bless his heart. It's just like as soon as we started to clear it, it's like there's just this heartfelt, I'm happy to be here, and he meant, here amongst all of us, but he means here in the physical world as well. So um, yeah, so just having an awareness that when he gets edgy, right, and I would always point people first, especially parents, first to their own emotional stuff, right? Let's look at that first. And if you're looking at that and working with that, then let's go to the next iteration, that there's something else that's bothering him, and there's something else that's unseen. And however you see that, we can make up all kinds of stories about what that might be or not be, but it's something that is he has access to, that you might not have access to. Yep. And so we don't even have to know what it is. We can just, wow, he's upset by something. He's frustrated. Let's move that energy further away. Let's choose to create some space between him and that energy. And I'm saying this to you because you absolutely have the capacity to do this. You absolutely have the capacity to just see that bigger space around him and move that more subtle energy out and around. So we'll take care of the physical parasites, but then the other part of it is moving that energy out away from him. So it's a great thing too, because, I mean, these kids are, they're helping us become, and they're teaching us the skill sets that we actually really have. I mean, energetically, that we all actually are. And so they're pushing us all the time to kind of go beyond what we've thought we knew. Um, but once you get past the, okay, I understand that I need to check in on my energy first, and I need to check in with my emotions, then that's one step, and that's one iteration, and it helps clarify your field so much that you start dropping into these other skill sets and reclaiming these other skill sets. And we want to just step right through those one after another. So, all right.
All right, we are down to about 20 minutes, and we're waiting for more questions.
Okay. All right. So if there are any other questions that you have, go ahead and put those in Sharon's chat box, and in just in a couple minutes, I want to go back to what I was just saying, because one of the things that keeps coming up for me is this real need for an awareness of not just the practical, well, I don't, how do I want to say it? We've been in a certain kind of relationship between parent and child, and that's been imprinted into us to be in a particular kind of relationship for quite some time. And then we have all these kids who are coming, who are so energetically sensitive and aware in ways that we haven't, we ourselves were not, we didn't have to be aware in that way. And so they're inviting us constantly to expand our awareness, expand our capacities, expand the subtle information that we receive. And, it's just becoming more and more clear that there is almost developing like a step-by-step process for that. And I'm writing it down, and it's and it's leaking out as we're having these conversations, right? But and of course that first iteration is this emotional body piece, because with all the emotional body imprinting, if we don't address that first, we really don't create a space to invite some of the more subtle aspects of us. And that's why these kids are so great at poking our buttons. You know, they find exactly that right jugular vein and they go right for it, you know. So, and it's that it's really purposeful. So I'm just, some of you already know this, and I'm reiterating it because I'm just seeing in the moment just how really profound going to that place within us first is, because it opens up to the next level of our subtle experience, so that we can begin to really know some of the things that these kids know. So yeah, writing it down, and we'll present it as it starts unfolding. So all right, anything else, Sharon?
No.
Oh, all right, good. All right, so let me see if there's anything else I want to add, and then so let's just consider that we've been wrapped up in a particular configuration for quite some time. Like the way you're showing it to me is like there's like this central line of light, of clarity, of stability, just like we were doing at the very beginning, that runs right directly down through you, through the multidimensional you. And it's almost like that has been encased or cloaked by, you know, all the conditioning. And what if we could just imagine, choose to throw it off, you know, just open it up, and almost like a cylinder that's opening up around, and just drop it off the back. And let's go back into that central awareness that holds the information we're seeking. You know, let's just go back there as often as we can and start accessing what's inside of us. Yep. Your kids wouldn't be poking through that outer exterior if they weren't trying to get to something. Yeah. And what they're trying to get to is that knowing within you. They're inviting us to it all the time. So we'll just open that. And a lot of times we want to just sit there. We don't necessarily want to, again, go into the cognitive mind and try to figure everything out. We just go with a question, go with a curiosity, go with a concern, and sit in that central column, that multidimensional you, and just sit there for a few minutes. And if something comes, something comes. And if nothing comes, just go about your day and let it come in while you're not quite as focused on finding the answer. Yeah. Yeah, it'll show up. So, yeah. Yeah, it's like this huge opportunity right now to just reorient from who we think we are, you know, mother, supporter, you know, whatever all those identities are, and re-identify with what we actually are, you know, with what that presence actually is. So we want to just dip into it as often as we can. Yeah. All right. I think that's it, my friends. Lots of love, everybody. It was nice seeing everybody, and have a happy Tuesday. Bye.